Vandaag in Two Tuesdays geen Silicon Valley. We zijn er klaar mee, we weten het wel met de Amerikanen. We gaan nu kijken in de komende afleveringen hoe die cultuur van Silicon Valley en al die innovatie elders in de wereld zijn vruchten afwerpt. En om te beginnen gaan we kijken hoe het staat met internet in Afrika.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop.
What tribe are you from?
I'm not from an African tribe, obviously. I'm an American. I'm from Seattle, originally from Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
I've been in Cameroon now since June of 2006, so coming up on 4 years. The part of Cameroon I'm in is in the southwest. The local tribe there is the Bakwari.
Tell us about Cameroon. What kind of country is it? Because I know nothing about it. I just know they had a great striker.
Yeah.
Good defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
about it.
Yeah, Cameroon is it's in the heart of Central West Africa, and it's actually one of the biggest economies coming up in Central West Africa at the time. We're located in the southwest region of Cameroon, which is Anglophone, but I think you'll find most Cameroonians are perfectly bilingual. They speak French, they speak English, they speak the two languages. That gives them a competitive advantage in many ways, and especially in Africa as well, because they, an African software entrepreneur can communicate with someone from Kenya just as well as they can with someone from Côte d'Ivoire or Senegal.
So how did you get lost in Africa? Were you on holiday and did you get, fall in love with a local girl? What's the deal?
Right. Well, I'm a software engineer by profession. I worked for more than 12 years in the software industry.
At Microsoft?
Yeah.
You heard of them?
Yeah. I worked for Microsoft, worked for another company called Visio. I left Microsoft and went to a company called iStart Ventures, which is focused on, that was an incubator during the dot-com boom. After the market fell out, I left iStart, and when the market conditions were right, I started my own company, had my own startup, which was focused on delivering location-based restaurant reviews to mobile phones. This is before the iPhone. This was around 2003. So I had the experience of being an entrepreneur, both for the mobile and the web space, and sold that business and took some time off and was looking for a change, and I certainly found a change in Cameroon. So I went and worked as both an advisor and as a teacher. I taught worked with some adults, Cameroonians, and teaching them in software engineering. I was just amazed that, here's this nascent but growing and just really thriving sort of culture of innovation focused around technical innovation. Went back to Seattle and then came back and founded Limbe Labs Ventures, which is we're a seed stage business accelerator. So we connect, we identify the good ideas, the bright, innovative ideas on the ground, and connect them with investment, with seed capital.
And you take a part of the equity for doing that?
We take a small portion of the equity.
And what do you call small?
In our case, it's 5%. We take just 5%, well, typically 5% of the businesses, and then the investor takes a portion as well. But we're doing this in response to, we're finding that quite a number of...
Taking 50 was too much.
Taking 50 is far too much. And in fact, that's really the problem. There's a problem with seed capital investment in Africa. It doesn't really exist. I mean, there are local investors. There's local angel investors, which may invest in, an entrepreneur comes to them and says, oh, I need 10,000 euros or 20,000 euros to launch my company. And the investor will say, okay, well, that's fine. I'll take 75, 80% of your business. And then they want to control the company, and So traditional forms of financing for startups, whether it's debt or equity.
So banking.
Forget it. Yeah. If you're a young person, or let's say if you want to start a company with you're a pre-revenue company that has no you have no
basically no money.
Yeah, you don't have any cash, and to try and get a loan from a bank, I mean, forget it. It doesn't.
But that means that Holland is just in the same state as Africa.
Maybe that's true. There might be some similarities. In Africa, you can start a business. An African entrepreneur can get started with a relatively small amount of capital. We're not talking about, you've been talking about Silicon Valley. Here in places like Cameroon, in places like Kenya, in Tanzania, Botswana, Ghana, all these other countries. It's actually possible to launch an internet company for maybe 10,000 euros.
Really?
Yeah, between 10 and maybe 50,000 euros. So the capital requirements are much smaller. If you look at Africa, you look at the billionth African was born last year. Africa now is a continent of 1 billion people, and 50% of that 1 billion is below the age of 20, and many of them, if you look at the demographics, are between the ages of like say 15 and up. So you've got this very young population, which is not. They don't feel held back by maybe some of the poor governance and the problems of their parents' generations. There's a Ghanaian economist named George Ayite who called them the cheetah generation. They're the fast-moving, innovative, forward-looking, the fast-moving predators, I guess you could say, sure. They're looking at ICT as one way to create wealth for themselves.
Hi, I'm Guillaume Valerie-Colon, Technology Coordinator for meest Cameroon.
You're also seeing maybe more Africans sort of skipping the laptop and going straight for a mobile phone. And as costs of smartphones come down all the time, an increasing number of Africans,
The price of an iPhone is about the same as the annual income of the lower income people in Cameroon. And if it's $2 a day that they're living on. It's let me eat or let me buy an app.
It's true that the iPhone. It's interesting. I mean, it says something about Apple in that the iPhone is for sale. In
is it?
Yeah, it's absolutely. You can buy them in Douala.
Legal.
The vast majority have much simpler phones, and so a lot of the innovations that we're seeing are SMS based, and a number of the entrepreneurs that we're working with at the moment are building things for SMS services, right? So, I mean, there's still quite
Content or applications? What should we look at?
Actually, both.
Hi, I'm Frackers, CEO of Fee Perfect. Why did we choose SMS? We chose SMS because SMS works on every single mobile phone in Africa. And the African mobile phone market is a very huge market. Case in point, Cameroon.
And technology, is there anything specific they're doing in the software space? Or
One other startup entrepreneur we're working with at the moment, they're a serial entrepreneur. They've actually already created one product called Pharma Pro, which is it's a software platform for pharmacies. And they're generating revenue from this.
Okay, Fuate, co-founder of Zinger Systems. Zinger Systems is an IT firm with the aim of providing low-cost solutions to the society. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have many products, with the most prominent being Pharma Pro, which is a pharmacy management software, which has...
Still begs the question, why do you do this? Do you do this because you really love Africa, you love helping people out? Or is it a great business opportunity? What is your reasoning behind it? What's your emotion?
This is where the innovation is happening. If you want to be on the cutting edge of mobile innovation, I would say that it's places like Kenya, it's places like Cameroon, it's places, these other African countries where the real cutting edge mobile products and services are being developed. And if you look at Apple opening up the App Store in some of these African cities, right? You look at Google opening offices all over the continent. You look at the O3B network, which Google is backing, which is coming online. And you're seeing it all over the continent. So you're seeing a number of factors. You're seeing this, widespread adoption, rapid growth in the mobile industry, right? Of the billion people in Africa now, around 450 million have mobile phones, and the growth rate is about 12%, which is outstripping North America, right? And it's not just Cameroon, it's not just Kenya, it's also, of course, Rwanda is jumped up to the top of the list on the World Bank Doing Business report. So they see ICT and entrepreneurship as a way forward, as a way to, they're looking at the private sector, not aid, not government, not foreign aid, but the private sector and ICT and entrepreneurs as a way of
growing the economy.
Growing the economy, absolutely.
If you're saying Africa is the center for mobile development, you should invest there. How?
Yeah, I'd say go look at VC for Africa, find out what's there, and very soon we're going to, this summer, VC for Africa is going to be launching a platform which will allow any Dutch citizen, anyone to invest into, to connect with entrepreneurs on the African continent. The one thing I hear over and over again from Africans is, we want trade, not aid. We want investment, not a handout. And, it's like the ideas are there, the innovation is there. What's missing at the moment is this access to capital. What we do is we take, at Limbe Labs Ventures, we take what we call sort of a broad and shallow approach. For an African, for a Cameroonian, this is true of all over Africa, it's certainly true in Cameroon. If you are a young person, if you're any kind of entrepreneur and you want to get a start, you might have to pay a year's rent in advance. And then you have to, you have to get furniture, you have to get an electric meter, you have to put in internet and everything. We have all of that ready. All of that's already in place in our office. These guys work around the clock. I mean, they'll work, if they have access to the office space, they'll work 16, 18 hours a day.
They really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. They'll
so
work
you have to
all
bet
night.
on, what do you bet on? Do you bet on Holland, do you bet on Africa?
Well, I'm in Africa, I'm living and working in Cameroon, and I see, if you want to see, hardworking, innovative startup entrepreneurs, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better place than places like Limbe or other places in Africa, because that's really where I think the hardest working up and coming entrepreneurs are going to be found.
All right, well, I wish you all the best.
Great.
Good luck over there, and thanks for your time. Man.
Thanks very much. Likewise.
We are people who are able to produce startling results, and under the tutelage of Limbe Labs, I think we're going to make it. Thank you.
The idea is that, if you want to find someone, you want to find, say, a business or an individual, you can create a query, an SMS query. You could say, well, find pizza in Nairobi, and it'll return to you a list of, kind of like a summary list of pizza restaurants.
I love your example. You're such an American still. Let me give an example. You come up with a pizza restaurant in Nairobi.
This was...
the first thing I would look at is, okay, I'm in Nairobi. I feel like having pizza.